your long life live. 9 souls exist. 2 now come calling for your kiss. Your forever Valentine, your Sophia Loren. I think she's calling for your kiss. So let your voice ring out as your spirit soars. Cowboys and Indians whoop and roar. And let your soul before you light your path and guide you as it comes calling for you, kid.
Well, it's 1 o'clock Friday. It's 1 o'clock London time. Welcome to the Sustac Plans Chat Club. I'm here with Reggie Johnson and Wayne Denner. This is the Sustac Plans Chat Club, where you'll be talking about AI innovation and marketing, in marketing and business in general. So AI innovations and ethics. For 30 minutes every week, we run through it. I'm Pierre Smith, the founder of Sustac Planning, and Reggie Johnson is the Director of Communications for Student Affairs at UNT Health, all the way over in Fort Worth, Texas, USA. Thanks for getting up this hour of the day, Reggie. Much appreciated. And Wayne Denner is from Warren Point, County Down. Wayne is a safe tech talker and just releasing a very interesting app, which we'll tell you about, which is going to help all sorts of parents in nice ways. And that piece of music that we just played there was something by Clara Rose. I bumped into Clara at the Rory Gallagher Festival in Donegal and was very impressed by her performance. Very gutsy performance. The first 3 sets of the women's blues theme on one of the afternoons, and there were like second band up at mid-afternoon. The rain was pouring down, but once they started singing and the band started playing, people just stood there in the rain. That nobody moved. It was absolutely fantastic performance, and so she very kindly gave me permission to play that. We'll say something about it at the end, because there's an interesting twist on the video that's attached to it. But for now, just remember the name Clara Rose, and that track is called Calling for the Kid. It's just been released. Calling for the Kid. Amazing video that goes with it. I'll tell you a bit more about it later on. But let's move on immediately, because we've got a busy session as always. We're going to be talking about Mythos withdrawn, but is the genie out of the bottle? And this is a huge impact on the world that we live in today. So a big one we're going to kick off with, and then we're going to look at Mythos again, Anthropic's Mythos, and ask, is it in China already? And then we're going to be talking about a shock statement we picked up during the week, which was from Eric Schmidt, who's quite prominent in the AI world. And, he said we should pull the plug on AI when it gets to this particular point, which I think I'm going to be asking Reggie and Wayne, is this it? Are we at this point today? So we've got serious questions to ask. Then the good news from the UK is the under-16s ban on social media, although it's causing a bit of tension between exactly could it go further. So we'll explore that. We'll be looking at Google's identified liability for its AI overviews, which is a result that's come out of Germany during the week. And then a bit of bad news, folks. Sonk is amongst us marketers. Sonk is amongst us. We'll explain everything in a few minutes. Then we're going to be telling you how to keep your family cyber smart. And this is Wayne's new app, the Hokali. Hokali is available for testing and so on. So that's good news, great news. More good news. Going to do a little talk at the end about Be AI Findable. There's a very simple LinkedIn solution, and LinkedIn is a lot more important now in the world of AI than it has been, and I'll explain that as well. So if we've time, we'll also look at AI success, starting with workflow for AI success. I have a feeling we might just run out of time on that one, and we'll do it next week or the week after. So let's kick off straight away with Mythos withdrawing, their amazing model. Now, let me explain what's happened with Anthropic. Claude Fable 5 is a version of Anthropic's Claude Mythos. It's renamed Mythos as Fable, and has some extra protections, such as saving data for 30 days and a few other bits and pieces, like stopping it if it's doing bioterrorism, etc. Now, just last week, the Commerce Department in the US said no foreign nationals can have access to Fable. So they had to turn it off. And the government, the American government, says they're weary of jailbreaking because of the possible incredible damage it could do to humanity. And so this was something kind of serious, to say the least, particularly if you're in Anthropic. So they had no choice that had to pull it, really. And there was a very interesting article by Nicholas Thompson, the CEO of Atlantic, and shared by Dan DiFederico. And it kind of took this apart and said, we really need to look at this carefully. So here it is. Anthropic has an AI program rivaling all its competitors, OpenAI, ChatGPT, Google's Gemini, the lot. And Anthropic, were told, it was ordered to suspend foreign nationals from using Claude's Fable 5, a program that even the company has described as being too powerful. So the net effect of this order is that Anthropic had to abruptly disable Fable 5 and Mythos 5 for all their customers to ensure compliance, essentially. Now, we've talked about this already. Anthropic and the Donald Trump government administration are actually in a lawsuit because they withdrew it from the use of the American government. They said they didn't want it being used for military purposes. So we're still debating whether that's PR or they're a 100% ethical company. We tend to fall and think perhaps the latter. So it basically says that our understanding is that the government believes it has become aware of a method of bypassing or jailbreaking Fable 5. So that means somebody gets their hands on this, they could break into somebody else's. Now, this will show you the danger of AI on the rampage, if you like. Professor of Responsible AI at Queen Mary University in London, Gina Neff, said that the decision to restrict the access to the model could limit the development and safe testing of these AI systems. She warned that it could also restrict collaboration with governments around the world. Okay. And she said, we're in uncharted territory at this point in time. Now, this is all happening this week. So she said that the UK government's AI Security Institute tested this, and they found that the model could exploit, now wait for this number, they found that this model, this Anthropic model, could exploit defenses and systems 73% of the time. Now, if they said 10% of the time, I'd say that's a disaster. They've got to pull the plug on this thing straight away. 73% of the time, this thing could hack in, break up the cybersecurity and access everything it wanted. So anyways, Anthropic have said that they feel they're at the edge of recursive self-improvement. Now, that's a phrase we've used before with some caution. It was Eric Smith who was talking about it last time. Recursive self-improvement. This is when machines can invent machines that can invent other machines, or AIs. It can invent other AIs. And the risks of AI suddenly go through the roof when this happens. Now, Eric Smith this week has said, when this sort of thing happens, we are at the point where you should be pulling the plug on AI. We'll come back to that. But I want to ask you, Reggie, is it possible that already Anthropic's Mythos is already in China?
Well, there have been reports about this. Stephen Klein posted to LinkedIn. He's somebody else in the AI space that we follow and often report on, or he often shares stuff worth sharing. And there was one report that a group linked with China had access. It was only a report. The company denied it. It's hard to know how seriously to take it. But this was kind of the triggering event that led to the Department of Justice or the U.S. government clamping down and saying no foreign nationals can have it. The thing is that, for context, Mythos was shared only with companies, a select group of companies, including some multinational allies of the United States, for defensive purposes, to help them prepare for its amazing cyber attacking skills, the fact that it could be used for writing cyber attacks. So it was shared with companies from across Europe and other places to prepare to protect their infrastructure from cyber attacks. But then there, just after I think about 10 days it was of access to it for some of these other companies, so this was not shared with the public yet, there was word that a group from China had gotten access to it through some of these exploits that we talked about that they have found are possible. And that's when the US government said, okay, no more access to anybody outside of the United States, which meant shutting the whole thing down, which meant maybe China already has it or enemies of the United States already have it. But now the people that were using it to defend themselves are walled off from it. So the cure to this was to take it away from the people that would protect themselves using the system to learn how to defend, and instead leave it only in the hands of the people that would intend to attack, if that report is correct. So it's an interesting response. I think one quote, that I read is it said, "So the wall we built keeps out the people defending the system and waves through the method the attacker would actually use. The point is we designed a containment that disarms the defender and inconveniences no one else."
So the question then is Anthropic at the edge of recursive self-improvement? When machines can invent machines that can invent other machines, or AI can invent other AI, etc. The risks of AI go through the roof. And Eric Schmidt said something similar when machines can speak their own language, that this might be the time to pull the plug on AI, or when you get to that sort of point. Or is that real, or is this fictitious? Is this hearsay, Wayne?
It's really difficult to say, because we're going to talk about this in a couple of moments in relation to Eric Schmidt saying basically pull the plug, and in that he's talking about these AI agents basically training other AI agents. And I think the whole idea around the operating boundaries in particular is going to be really, really important, and also the governance, which I think is often not talked about at the moment. I mean, AI is spread across servers across the world. It's going to be very, very difficult just to pull the plug.
Yeah, it will be. It's as if the genie's been released from the bottle, and it's bye-bye genie. So Eric Schmidt actually said there are sort of 3 stages in AI development, currently that are whizzing around. So one is infinite, infinite prompts. You can put a 1,000-page prompt into a machine or into an AI. The second big development is, AI can write its own code, and it's getting better and better and better. I know there's issues of AI, of code debt, etc., but it is apparently getting better at writing its own code. It's learning its way. But the third step, so first infinite prompts, second write code, and third is text to action agents that talk to other agents, as you said, Wayne. So when they talk to other agents, if and when they develop a special language that humans don't understand, that's the point when Eric Schmidt said, you've got to pull the plug.
Exactly.
So I'm wondering, are we at that point already? And if so, should we be stopping this discussion and getting off our AI,
Well, the interesting thing around that particular interview with Eric Schmidt was, AI researchers are already planning around not letting AI, run amok completely unsupervised. And there is talk around operating boundaries, and there is lots of talk at the moment, in fact, around AI governance in particular. And under that will fall the operating boundaries and things like that. The problem is back to that point earlier on, Paul, about, pulling the plug. You would assume you just go in and you pull the plug out somewhere in the world and that's it. Yeah. Everything stops. But the problem we have is that AI is now spread across multiple servers and multiple platforms, so that it's not just a case of switching off one plug. Things will still go on as normal. There is no single plug, effectively.
Yes, indeed. And to pull that plug, we've talked about this before, that one particular AI turned nasty and threatened to blackmail the manager that was saying, we're going to shut down this old system and introduce a new system. And the AI turned around and threatened blackmail that he knew that they were having a bit of a external relationship outside the marriage. Scandalous stuff by the AI. So we're on the brink of what we've been talking about for years, I feel. However, a bit of good news is that the UK has banned social media for 16-year-olds. So children under 16 cannot have access. So in the UK, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has announced he's got a lot of challenges as of today coming through the pipeline. We'll talk about that another time. But Mr. Starmer announced the restriction at a Downing Street press conference, and he warned that social media was having an impact on children's happiness and mental health. We've been saying this for years. He said he would not compromise on the safety and happiness of our children. Now, that's all good stuff, and we want to say thank you to the New Zealand government for taking the initial initiative some years back and banning it from 16-year-olds. They do say that in New Zealand about 60% are still getting access to it, so the kids will find a way around it. But it's making it a little bit more difficult for the social media companies to leverage and exploit kids. And now there's more work to be done. For example, the Molly Rose Foundation, and we've talked about the Molly Rose Foundation for many years. You remember Molly Rose, that lovely 14-year-old young girl who took her own life in 2017 after viewing repeated harmful content online, which was advising her to take her own life. You know, it's appalling stuff that a product could do that. Somebody could be irresponsible enough to build a product that would do that to young people. But anyways, they did. And Molly Russell's Foundation and Molly Russell's father in particular were saying that, hang on, this ban will fail to tackle the fundamental product safety risk issues and leave parents with a false sense of safety. The chief executive of the Molly Rose Foundation said that children will continue to use high-risk sites. They'll find their way because there's no incentive to implement robust protections, but for the social media companies. So, I mean, I just don't understand why that is still taking so long to get to that point where we demand more robust and better safeguards by the companies, not just saying the kids can't use it. So
don't you think that has to do with the fact that 1 in 4 lobbyists is from the tech industry? I mean, there's your answer right there. 1 in 4 lobbyists in Washington, D.C. is from the tech industry. They're paying so much money into politicians' campaigns that the only people that don't seem to think we need accountability for the social media and the tech companies are the politicians that make the decisions, while the rest of America wants it.
Yeah, so the lobbying thing is out of control. There's no doubt about it. Governments need to look at that whole process. That's going to be a tricky one to fight the lobbyists. That's another war that governments have to have. But good news about the Google liability for its overviews. We've got some good news coming back, a bit demanding more responsibility, I would say, for companies. Wayne, have I got that right?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. A Munich regional court. So that's the important thing to keep in mind about this. This was a German Munich regional court hit Google with an injunction after its AI overviews falsely linked 2 German publishers to scams and shady business practices. Now, it looks at 3 key areas. The court draws a sharp line between search and synthesis. The crux here is the traditional search engines just point people to websites. So the German case law, or the Federal Court of Justice, had given them like liability. They're indirect infringers, if you like. But the court found that the AI overviews do something fundamentally different, where they generate independent, new and substantive statements. So they're generating them. Number 2 is it just go to check sources doesn't work as a defense, the court explained, and that's what Google was arguing. And the third one is the liability gap. It's really worth noting in this is that this is not really a legal point, but a striking number, that the article cites an NYT analyst finding that Gemini 3 answers correctly 91% of the time in AI. That's really interesting to note. It's answering 91% of the time in AI. And a caveat to keep in mind with this is, as I mentioned at the start, this is a single regional court's temporary injunction and not a final ruling.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right. So we then don't know 100% sure in Germany whether Google is willing to own the liability that comes with owning the visitor's attention, really.
Correct.
Yeah. So we'll keep an eye on this one, and let's hope that does push through. And it kind of raises more questions than answers for us. But another question I have for you, Reggie, is Sonk among us?
I think Sonk has been among us for a while. So Sonk was this idea of the scientification of non-knowledge. Now, Tom Fishburne is called the marketunist. He creates comics that are about marketing. He's a marketer. He's not just a cartoonist who writes about marketing. He's a very knowledgeable marketing voice and thought leader in the space. He writes the funniest comics. So this week he shared a comic where there's one marketer talking to another, and he says, there's a new study from an agency that specializes in omni-channel experience influencer orchestration. And they found the future of marketing is omni-channel experience influencer orchestration. So when I saw that, I immediately thought, how many times have we seen a new AI company says the future of marketing is AI, or AI company says 95% of marketing jobs will be done by AI? Yet we don't tend to apply the same scrutiny as is obvious from this comic. But the scientification of non-knowledge is this idea that now that thought leadership has become the new norm for content for businesses, especially in the business-to-business space, there is this tendency that's been growing for quite a number of years to take basically something fairly mundane and dress it up and make it look like a white paper that has some new finding. And I would say one thing, obviously, that we're seeing with Tom Fishburne mentions in his comic strip is the self-biased aspect about this, where we're taking some finding that we've found ourselves to push our own product, and we're saying, look, we've found our product is the future of everything. And that's a certain place where we need to really apply some skepticism. We need to push back against the numbers, because we need to ask questions like, what does the company have to gain from this result from the study they did themselves? So the scientification of non-knowledge, the scientification of self-serving studies are all important things to keep an eye out for as we see more numbers being thrown around. And I tell you, right now, with the way big tech is putting out their own information, like how many jobs are going to be taken by AI, and the media just seems to repeat it without recognizing the inherent conflict of interest in an AI company who sells AI, saying AI is going to be the future of everything and take all of your jobs, and the media just repeats it. We need some more skepticisms and critical thinking.
We need more skepticism. We need more robust journalism, more investigative journalism. We need to, well, we've always said it, when you see any stat, the first question you must ask is, well, who's done the research and who has paid for that research? Because that will give you a good idea whether it's biased or not, I would suggest. But I like that phrase, the scientification of non-knowledge. How many of us have been guilty of that? Are we all sonks or sonk users occasionally? That is a deep question to chew on. Okay, so sonk is amongst us. I think we accept that. But thank goodness we have also got something new amongst us, which is going to help children, or parents of children in particular, to keep your family cyber smart. Now, this is good news. We like to always get some good news in the second half, and that's Wayne has produced this very interesting app for parents called the Hokali. Forgive me if I've got it right, but that's a Hawaiian name. Tell us more about this. What does it do? How's it going to help parents, busy parents who are under pressure for time and all the rest of it?
Yeah, I suppose going back to your point earlier on about the online safety ban in the UK, I was in Turkey last week, as you guys know, when the ban actually was announced, and I had lots of BBC people trying to contact me for a comment on it. And I didn't really share much thought on it because of where I was. I waited until I come back. But just going back to that point, Paul, it's not a silver bullet, as you and I know. Problems exist around systems, algorithms, business models, and moderation. And parents are a key factor in whatever ban comes into place. That's going to be really, really important. And I watched the BBC interview when I came back from Turkey yesterday, where there was a 13-year-old, I think, young person had said, and I quote, "There's a lack of guidance for parents when it comes to online safety. And I would completely agree with that statement.
100%.
So what we've done is we've created a smartphone app called Hookily, which is Hawaiian for navigation, which allows parents access to a library of step-by-step online safety video guides. Everything from what Snapchat is, how to set up the parental controls, how to use WhatsApp or Instagram, and some of the things that you need to be aware of when it comes to the risks and dangers on popular social media platforms, games, and apps that children and young people may be using. The parent simply downloads the app onto their phone. They create an account, simple, small subscription, and they get access to the library of videos. As soon as we update a new video onto the app, you get a push notification, a text message on their phone, and they can come in and watch those videos on their device. So we do all the heavy lifting when it comes to what you need to know about, what are the risks and dangers, and here are practical things that you can do with your team to support them in their digital world. And the idea with the app is to help increase the awareness and the guidance among our parents to become more involved in their child's digital world. So for listeners in today, we'll be sharing a link in the show notes on how people can find out a little bit more information on it. And the video or the app currently has over 250 step-by-step video guides for parents.
Wow. And so it's easy to wade through those 250 little bits of advice. Is it easy to find? Say I'm concerned about Snapchat. Is it easy to find it?
Exactly. And we've built in a little bit of AI into the system as well, where if you're searching for particular videos and certain topics, then it'll prompt you, well, hey, you took a look at this video. You might also be interested in this video about this new feature that Snapchat rolled out. So again, we're trying to prompt parents as well around things that, you know, they've been searching for in the app, but they may not have yet watched. So that we're again trying to get them on board with their child's digital world.
Very good. So that's a big project to maintain that and update that. So, well, congratulations. Bringing that to the market. So we'll put in the show notes on pearsmith.org/blog. We'll put a link to Wayne's app. We encourage you to have a look at it. And let us know, anybody out there, let us know if you've had a go. How did you find it? How could Wayne improve it if needs be?
Please,
yeah, so that'll be very, very, very useful. Okay, we're going to finish just in the last few minutes with something I found very, very interesting about LinkedIn. Now, most of the people here listening to this would be online on LinkedIn a lot of their business time. So this is a piece written by Alina Jingen, and I thought it was really well written. So let me share it with you. And it says, here's the probably top tip, is to be we're trying to optimize for AI, SEO, and all the rest of it, is to be findable by AI, while LinkedIn now defines your visibility. So this, as I say, is I find it refreshing when you come across somebody who can write like this. This is Alina Jingen's excellent piece. And she says, this month, LinkedIn became the #1 most cited domain source for professional queries across AI systems. Not Google, not company blogs, not your website, LinkedIn. So in just a few months, it's jumped from outside the top 10 sources cited by ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, and Perplexity. In the last 3 months, LinkedIn has become one of the most authoritative sources shaping AI-driven discovery. So between November and 2025 and February of this year, it surged, literally surged. So for professional queries across all AI search platforms, they were saying LinkedIn is really the key to go. So people don't search anymore, as you know. They ask, and AI doesn't give them links. It gives them summaries, recommendations, names, etc. And so the question is no longer, can people find you? But the question is, does AI know where you are or how to contact you? So AI systems, this is what they need. And this is what your LinkedIn page has to respond to. So they need structured, credible, human context. And LinkedIn is perfect for this because it's real identities, it's clear roles, consistent content if you can, plus network signals and professional language. So it's made for AI search really. And compare that to messy websites, blogs, outdated SEO pages, and the rest of it. So LinkedIn is like clean training data if you get it right, and AI will then use that data if you do it right. And the uncomfortable truth is most people are invisible to AI, not because they're not good, but because they're vague, inconsistent, and hard to describe. Now, I'll put my hand up there. I'm going to look at my LinkedIn profile again after thinking about this stuff. But AI can't clearly answer who is this person and what are they known for. You won't be mentioned, you won't be recommended, you won't exist in that layer of discovery. So it's not about posting anymore. It's not more content, it's not more engagement, it's not more hacks. It's about being legible to machines. So how do you do that? So here's 5 steps. What actually works, if you do nothing else, do these 5 things. Number 1, make your headline painfully clear, not clever, not vague. Avoid, the old helping companies unlock their potential. That's dross. Better would be enterprise AI strategy, or GTM and revenue, go-to-market and revenue, or Salesforce AI and data platforms. Establish what you're really good at, what your advantage is. So AI needs clarity, not creativity. Number 2, own 2 to 3 topics max. Now, I'm guilty of going all over the place in mine, so that's a tricky one. But AI builds you as an entity based on repetition. And if you talk about everything, you're nothing. So maybe stick to AI strategy, or women in AI, or enterprise sales, or whatever it is. That's number 2. Number 3, write like you want to be quoted, because you might be. AI loves clear, crisp statements, loves strong opinions, likes structured ideas. So, write like you want to be quoted. Number 4, be consistent across everything. Your headline, your about section, the posts, the comments, etc. And number 5, turn your profile into a source. Your LinkedIn is longer. It's no longer a CV. It's training data. So ask yourself, if AI had to describe me in 1 sentence, would it get it right? And if not, fix it. So that's for you. Make your own headline painfully clear. Number 1. Number 2, own 2 to 3 topics. Number 3, write like you want to be quoted. Number 4, be consistent across everything. Turn your profile into a source for AI. Simple tips. We'll put the links to that on pearsmith.org/blog. We're going to stop now because it's just 1:30 and we try to end sharply on time because we know you're all busy out there. We're going to finish with Clara Rose calling for the kid. I remember I said, if you go and look at the video, which we post on pearsmith.org/blog, have a look at the video. It's an old romantic video, beautifully made actually. But actually, there's a sub theme that I may not have consciously put into it, but it's kind of kids addicted to screen time. I'm not saying all the kids are in this thing, but there is a scene where the kids are glued to their apps and all the rest of it. Well, I won't spoil the story, but they're trying to break them out of that and come back to some old memories and fun outdoors, etc., etc. So it's a really beautiful video. It's a lovely song by Clara Rose, clararosemusic.com. Have a look at that as well. So we put links to those on pearsmith.org/blog. And with that, folks, it's time to say farewell. I won't be around next week. I'll be in Cyprus, but Reggie and Wayne will be here. And we'll also have Claire Bomford back with us reviewing some free AI courses. So here's Clara Rose to see us out. I wish you a great weekend. Enjoy the World Cup. Enjoy the American Open. The golf is on as well. And of course, Leinster play tonight in the final of the European Rugby. So what a weekend. I wish you all a great weekend, folks. All the best for now. Here's Clara Rose.
Your deep blue eyes, they've seen it all. They're closing in now on your kiss. Their twinkle never faded, the music that you made. Hear the drummer counting in the kiss. So let your voice ring out as your spirit soars. Cowboys and Indians whoop and roar, and let your soul before you light your path and guide you as it comes calling for you, kid.
Hey guys, have a good one.